And also I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so all right, so I want to touch the concept of MCP. All right, so the model context protocol. Okay, some of you probably have seen this one or tried this a little bit. It was a very trending concept, I would say, earlier this year. Maybe they created this last year, but a lot of people were talking about this one earlier this year. And recently, I think the trend kind of dropped down a little bit because the concept is getting more common. Okay, so let's recap, okay, what we have done over the past two or three lessons. Now, I explained to you that after we don't know how to use a prompt, how to use a large language model, we want AI to do more things, okay, to interact with other different kind of domain and fields. You can't just do everything with text input and output. We want to do more than that. All right. So the solution is that we're gonna build agent. Okay, the agent is almost like a actor. Okay, so once you got some kind of output from large language model, can we give that kind of commands to the actors so the actors can actually execute and do more things for us? The actors could be a robots, right? Can do the physical stuff. The actor can also be other software and tools that can handle different things. And then the last week, I gave you kind of one very concrete example, but I think that example explained the idea very clearly. Okay, so how do we build the AI agent to manage and organize our file systems, the folder? Right? Because well, the large language model knows how to do what's the best practice, how to organize that, but the regular large language model cannot really touch your file system, and they don't know how to operate it, they don't know how to permission, right? So that's why we built our agent program that does that, right? So let me show you back here and to recap. Okay, so we showed you two versions. The first version, we showed you to use some kind of a domain-specific language as a specification to run a different command. And the second version last week I also showed you using some more modern and an advanced library called LangChain. Okay, so for LangChain, it just have a better framework to organize everything. So you specify the tools you have. I have one tool here to create a folder. I have another tool here to move a file from a source path to a destination path. And then another tool here to just list all the files under the folder, and this tool here to get more details such as file size with a given file, right? So I have these four tools I built, I already implemented them. And then what I did was that I create a file system agent. This agent, I specify three things: which model we're going to use. Sorry, not here, this one. Which larger model we're going to use. In this case, we're using GPT-4o mini model. And then which tools do we have available, right? So we have these four tools here. I put them into the list. And finally, I have a prompt to direct how are we going to use the tool, what's the goal of this agent, right? So this agent is a kind of file organizer. You're going to inspect the folder, look at the file system, and then give recommendation. Also, I'll use the tools to organize it, right? So once you have an agent, you don't need to worry about which tool to call, when to call, what's the sequence to call the tools, right? So the large language model will figure out those based on the purpose of the tool and the description, the input and output, right? So as you start to run, all we need to do is give a pass, and then they will figure out a sequence and call the tools in the right order, and then get everything organized. So we already showed this one last week, right? So this was a very cool demo on how you build a dedicated agent to do a certain specific things, which is not really available by a regular large language model. Okay, so if you think about the structure of this agent, okay, so we have some individual tools that can do different kind of things. Okay, in this case, every tool does one type of a file management task, whether it's to create a folder, to move a file, or do other things, right? But then if you understand this concept, obviously you can really extend it to a lot more things. Okay, you can create anything you want and for all different kind of purposes. It's not just about file management. It can be, manage your to-dos. It can be search for some information. It could be, play your game or organize your game. It can be anything. Okay, so you can do a lot of these tools, and always you can organize them under some kind of a large language model by giving some specific agent purpose, right? But then if you think about a little bit further, okay, are the tools always has to be local? Does the tools always have to be something like running on your computer? Does the files and things like that? Obviously, those are very useful, but those are also very limited. A lot of things we can already do on our local computer, and a lot of things that we don't have the resource and access to do. So that started bringing the question that as we're building this agent, as we're trying to importing more tools, how can we enable a wider range of tools? It's not just going to be local tools, but also some remote tools. Okay, for example, what if I want to send an email through the Gmail? And that's going to happen in the email server. And what if I want to, choose my courses in the Bronco system? And that's going to interact with some of our school server, right? So that's why when people start to, you know, uh, enhancing and trying to making the agent more powerful, they realize that we need a stronger and more tools to be involved. It's not just going to be local, but also relying a lot of other external tools. Okay, so the idea here is very straightforward. Okay, so we basically start to look at how can we turn those tools, okay, into servers. All right, so once we put into servers, it doesn't have to be local anymore, right? It could be somewhere else hosting that too, and they can run it. They can run on their server, on their machine, or using their database. But we still want to call them, right? We still want to interact with them. All right. So the model context protocol was created here. As you can see from the name, it's a protocol. All right. A protocol, just like internet protocol, it just specifies how the different tools or servers interact with each other or communicate with each other in a standard way. Okay. Because now we know that we can build a lot of tool, you can build a lot of tool, anyone can build a lot of tool, and it can be local, it can also come from the server. And the large language model is going to get all these tools available to do more different type of things. Okay. But as we start to interact and communicate, we need a standard language to specify what to do, how to do it. This protocol is almost like another domain-specific language I showed you in the first example. All right. So we specify the syntax, the sequence, the semantics. Okay. How do we run things? Okay. But obviously it's more complicated than that small like domain-specific language I designed in the beginning, but the idea is the same. So MCP just gave you this kind of protocol that everyone can follow, and so that we can handle all the different kind of tasks using different tools. All right. So that's the idea behind MCP. Okay. So this graph is kind of more straightforward. Okay. Before we have MCP, the large language model directly interact with some different tools. Okay. They can already do that. But now we actually interact with tools through this standard protocol. And the good thing about doing this one is that the large model doesn't have to know directly how the different tools will work. Every builder of tool just need to plug in their tool, expose their server through the protocol, and then also provide a description on what their tool can do, and the large model can directly just call and use them quickly, right? And also the tools doesn't have to be local anymore. It can be remote. It can be from a server. Okay, so that's the concept of the model concept protocol. So to give you some more concrete idea, okay, I'll just introduce this website here. This is the first thing you need to know. There are a lot of this type of thing. So this summary is a kind of a repository that contains all the MCP servers. Okay, MCP is a protocol. And based on the protocol, people building servers. Okay, and obviously different servers do different things. All right, as you can see here, there's a MCP server called Extra Search, and then this one is just gonna give you a more powerful or faster search feature that you can search different things. And in regular way, the large model can do some kind of search, but maybe it's small, maybe it's outdated. And this one, they build their server to search things. Maybe they use some other APIs, they maybe use Google, or maybe they have their own search engine, we don't know. But then they expose their search feature to us. Okay, so we can integrate into the large language model. And next time when you go to the large language model, you want to say, oh, I want to search something, and then you can use this one to search for it. Okay. So that is how we use MCP. Okay, so first of all, I want you to understand that there are a lot of this kind of a platform. This is probably one of the most popular one, and they have a lot of tools already available here, but you probably can find other repositories from different kind of platforms. Okay, but all the tools here, they all stick to this MCP protocol. And obviously, we can also develop our own MPC server and also plug in and publish that into the repository here, right? So let's actually take a look at the first one. Okay, there is a search MCP server, and then you can start to use this one. What they do is that once they build a server, okay, so they have this little specification, and then you can put this specification into your own environment. Okay, so most of large model today support MCP, whether it's ChatGPT, it's Cloud, Cursor, Cloud Code, any of the tools actually all support this one. I'm going to show you, we're going to use Cursor to do this one, okay? Under the Cursor IDE, you have a setting, all right? And then one of the tabs is called Tools and MCPs. Okay, that's what's going on. All right, as you can see, I already installed 3 different kind of MCPs. This one is called sequential syncing. And then once you install that server gave you some kind of tools you can use. Like this one here is called a detailed tool for dynamic and reflective problem solving through thoughts. This tool helps analyze problems through a flexible thinking process that can adapt and evolve. And each thought can be built on question or revise previous insight as understanding deepens. Okay, so you can use this one to break down a complex problem into steps, planning things with room for revision, and they explain the things you can do. Okay, so they give you a kind of better way to think and solve certain problems. This extra search, if you click on this, they provide some different tools, and this one is called Web Search Extra. As you search the web, use real-time web searches, and then script the content, and they can also do a lot of other things. And then this one is to get code context extra. This one to search specifically for coding kind of a tasks. Okay. And then they also have a search help and other tools. All right. So you can then start to install the tool. Okay. I already installed those. I'll show you that one later. But once we install the tool, and now um, the tool itself will allow you to do it. So for example, I'm going to go here. All right, I'll open this chat window here. So now if I want to, search for the, search for some news. I don't know if it can get this one, okay, related with, poly hormone. Okay, when I do this kind of prompt, all right. And so they actually start to consider the web search options, and then they try to search something. But I don't feel that this one actually uses that. I don't think they use uh, extra search MCP. Regarding how you trigger those one, it all depends on the large language model. Okay, so the large language model, once you install and enable this in your IDE, they understand what's going on, they understand the purpose, and based on the prompt, based on the input, they decide which one to use. That's exactly how things are here working. Like when we are building this example, right? We did not specify which to call. Okay, they decided. All right, so same idea here. All right, so let me try a different one. Okay, um, so so let me read this too very carefully. So get real-time searches from specific URLs. Oh, they want some specific URLs. Maybe that's the case. Okay, I'm gonna do a Cowboy Pomona, maybe computer science. All right. So get some uh faculty search for the faculty information from this specific URL. Okay, if I give a URL, let's see if they can call that to MCP server to do it. Um, looks like they're still not using it. This one because it's a the web search feature is integrated with a lot of the large model already. So I think that we need to have a way to trigger this. Maybe I would just say that just to use this one explicitly. Okay, use actual AI search to find the faculty information from here. And see if this one could actually trigger that. Yeah, this one does. When this being triggered, so as you can see, they start to run this tool, and the tool has some kind of inputs, okay? And then you will be able to see exactly what they send, I think. This is the query. Yeah. And then because this tool here, as you can see, they take a parameter called a query. So you need to provide a URL and it's a search. But you can see this time it's really fast, right? As you can see, it's faster than the one they did without the tool. That's why we still want to use this search tool here for the search feature. It's just faster than regular um, you know, uh, large language model. Okay. All right. So how many permanent faculty are there? I don't know if this one they will be able to use. Okay, so it has 17. They already found it. All right, so but anyway, so this tool is a little hard to show you just because the search feature is already kind of built in into the language model. Okay, but let me show you another tool. Okay, I tested this one. So there is this a kind of a platform called a Todoist. Okay, this is a kind of a task management kind of software. All right, so you can add a to-dos. Today I have another course, okay? CS4800 software engineering course. All right, just a reminder. All right. Oh, this one is a paid version, paid feature. That's that. Never mind. So I can manage my to-dos and I can look at this one. I don't know what's the big deal about this software, but it looks like it's one of the popular one. And if you go to the repository, I actually found there is one um, to-do list. Oh, I just found it. This one. So they can integrate this one with the large model. And then you click on server, you can then install. I already did this. Okay, I already tested. So right here, you can see they have a lot of different kind of tools for you to do, create a task and create a projects and even manage the comments section, a lot of details. Pretty much anything the API can do, they expose those through MCC server. Okay, so now I can say, show me my to-do list today. Okay. And then when I do this, okay, so I don't think they're calling it because I think the problem is that they look at specific tasks. This is something I'm still trying to figure out. Okay, show me my tasks today. I don't know that one is gonna trigger the tool. All right, so that still doesn't work. Okay, so this is a okay. List all my tasks from to-do list. I don't think we need to do that all the time because they're supposed to actually, this one actually does work because it just start a call, this get tasks. All right. Okay, they gave me a lot of things. Oh, list all my tasks. Okay. All right. I only want to see my tasks today. All right, so here it goes. Okay, so these ones actually does come from the Todoist app right here. Okay, that's the three things I put here. All right, so add a new task to pick up kids at 2 p.m. today. All right, so this one also runs um, the tool, but there is some kind of a parameter that's not right. They're looking for a project ID. Uh, let's see if they can fix it. All right, so they added. Let me go back here. Yeah, right here, as you can see, guys, there is a kind of a pickup task here at 2 p.m. All right, so this just shows you now the large model can interact with other different kind of tools. Okay, I think different model like ChatGPT also provide this type of feature that allows you to integrate with other kind of tools. But today I just want to explain the ideas behind it. It's actually still people are trying to expand the efforts to make the AI to do more type of things. In this case, different kind of clients expose their features through MPC protocol, and they build their MPC server. It's almost like API. It's just like they follow this protocol, so this one is easier for the larger model to interact with. All right. So these are some examples. I did actually search and look around a lot of different NPCs. A lot of those doesn't work that well. Okay, so you really gotta find the really useful ones. Okay, depending on our purpose. Okay, so let's actually take a look at some other things. The linear, this looks like it's another task management system. Let me see anything else. And also a lot of those actually requires the the authentication and keys. Okay, you also want to be careful about that one. Let's see what Figma can do. They can manage the files, comments, components, tools. Get a file. They have a lot of tools. Get images, stuff. Basically, you can see this is almost like API from Figma that you can interact with their things. Okay, that's not very useful. Let's see. They have Versal here. That's also useful. Yeah, this might be one that I find this one might be useful to try because sometimes when we are doing the development, we want to, check the deployment status. Okay, so but I don't know how hard this one is. Let's try. Wait, they only have a search domains. Oh, Vercel domain. Okay, that's not something we need. Okay, no. All right, let's get something more useful. Okay, so they have a paper MCP. I do find this is useful, but the previous one didn't work. Let's try it. Okay, may install this one here. So it's gonna automatically pop up your cursor and they need some kind of authentication. I'll just follow that. All right, looks like this is good. All right, there's tools. Get article URL, retrieve the direct PDF URL of the article, download URL. All right, let's see. Okay, get a paper about prompt prompt patterns. Let's see if this one even works. The previous two I did. All right, so this one, automatically go to that tool called search uh archive X. So that's a paper platform. Okay. And then run it, search for prompt pattern, see if they can find anything. Oh, this is actually very good. Okay, so previous one didn't work. So this actually did find out that most famous paper about this one. All right, let's see. Download. this article. I don't know if this one even works. All right, so they're gonna download this one, give ID. Oh, this is already downloaded. All right. Okay, so we'll move it to this project folder. Right, so they're trying to find out where that paper was downloaded earlier. All right, so they're downloading this again. All right, this time we got it. So it's right here. And that is the paper. Okay. All right, so they downloaded it. This actually works pretty well. Okay. All right. So you can really imagine these are just some kind of plugins, okay, that you can attach to larger model, right? So, but as you can see that a lot of these, if you just want the large model to do it by itself, it will be either very difficult or they don't even have the access. All right. Um, a lot of these are a lot of academic reference and detection, and these are about development. Let's see what else. Obviously, you can already do GitHub. And they also have their file system kind of manager, just like what we did. And let's see what else. You can search for weathers, right? I was testing one more thing about the travel, flight search. I don't know if that works. Okay, let's try some of this one. Search Google Flights. A lot, and also these ones you gotta be a little bit careful about their like security. Okay, if this is a good. All right, let's just try this one. See if there's any luck. Yeah, I have to say I find a lot of the NPCs not very good quality. All right, so this one is done here. So they have two tools, search for flight and search for the cheap flight. Okay, so search for a cheapest flight from LAX to Miami on December 20th, 2025. All right, see if they can get this one. All right, obviously they know to ask for that too. That's great. All right, so yeah, they got something. Okay, I don't know if this is the real data, but yeah, looks like this is good. Okay, so this one is flight. They didn't say the flight air company. Oh, Frontier. Oh, okay, so Frontier. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so as you can see, this is also kind of available and then pretty fast. So, but behind it, you are sending all those input parameters as a request. It's almost like calling the API, all right? But now you can just use natural language to do this one. And also when you have more tools available, um, your model basically is more capable. Okay, they can, handle and do more different kind of things. All right. So that's the idea of MCP, guys. Okay, not very complicated. Okay, but you gotta understand when we are building things on our own without MCP how to work. But the fundamental idea is the same thing. Okay, just once again, if you think about in the beginning, we have that little domain specific language. That was a kind of a protocol. Okay, and then we use a framework that we get rid of the language. So using the long chain, and now this MCP protocol is even more powerful. You don't even need long chain. You just install the servers and just call, just say things. Okay. So, but then all of this idea all share one thing in common. We're trying to, again, let AI to do or more different kind of things. Okay. So as I mentioned before, now recently, recent 2, 3 months, that I don't see or hear the MCP concept that much often compared with earlier this year. Just exactly like one reason I think because the language model itself already kind of trying to do a lot of things. For example, for cursor, they can already do GitHub. You don't have to do another extra like plugin to do this one. Okay, so it's already getting all these features integrated and unless it's something that's particularly specific to a certain domain or certain resources, and obviously you can always build your own MCP server, right? So if you, for example, our school, right? So they have the database for our student data, course information that's not available, but they can build their own server so that you can use language model to query those kind of things. All right, so building a server also isn't too difficult. There are a lot of tutorial. I don't need to show it. I don't think that's that important at this point. But so the lecture today, I just want you to know and be aware of this concept. Okay, some of you probably have seen this one. Some of you this first time you know it, but it was at least a very popular thing going on. But right now, also, I just feel, as I mentioned, language model already has it, but also it's already kind of the concept is everywhere. Okay. Sometimes they just don't mention this as MCP. I think in ChatGPT, now you can actually already do a lot of things. Okay. As you are, I think they can already interact with a lot of tools and also other integrations. Okay. They may not call it MCP, but they have their own name, whether it's an app or it's extension or plugin, but it's the same idea. All right. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all I want to share with you. Okay, so I will still try to show you more things next week. Okay, but these things are, I would say, just some kind of an explorer. Okay, for you to know the concepts. But it's really important that you guys go install this all yourself and play around with it. Um, that's the most important suggestion I can give you right now. Okay, so no matter what, I go pick up the tools, use them, know them, so that at least you keep yourself up to date. All right. So any questions? All right. Well, if not, I'll leave the time for you guys to probably just do more things on your project. Okay. It sounds like this time most of you haven't even started a project yet. I know you're also busy with other courses, but yeah. So plan out your agent project. Okay. It's not. I think it will be a little bit more difficult than the first one. Okay, depending on how much you want to do, and also really think very hard to do something really special. Okay, that can take advantage of a lot of a model to simplify things, but you provide all the tools. If you actually want, you can also build your own MCP. That's also a very cool project.